Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Guin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you. Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today I want to talk about achieving things that we once thought were impossible. And I want to share a little bit about my journey. And so for me, something that my former self would have never thought possible is that I would become a successful and internationally selling artist at any point in my life, let alone in my 50s. And when I reflect back, I can remember that I've always been drawn to art, particularly painting and drawing, as well as a lot of other things that would be considered, I guess, traditionally creative. Things like sewing, writing, music, interior design, cooking. They're all things that I've been drawn to since really as long as I can remember. And while I've definitely experimented with and partaken in all of these things, I never really committed enough time or resources to take any of them to what I would say is a professional level. And that is until around the age when I turned 50, because it was then that I realized that life was passing me by very quickly. And although I had no regrets, well, I guess some regrets for sure, but I mean, no real regrets about the direction I had taken my life, I knew that I was at a point that I also wanted more, but I didn't know what that really looked like. I wasn't quite sure. But one thing that I did know for sure was that it would be something that demonstrated my creativity, something that I would be proud of, and something that would create an income. And so I moved forward by making time to create things. I made baby blankets from linen and other fabric that I combined with like these crocheted appliques. I crocheted. I made realistic as well as abstract drawings. I reworked the rooms and the spaces in our home. I started a blog, but I was always moving from one thing to the next. And so, yeah, while I was creating things, it was never really with any true purpose or outcome in mind, aside from the project at hand, which sometimes never even got finished. And so time was still moving quickly. And I was relatively, or I guess actually pretty much exactly in the same place 2 years later. And so somehow I realized that I had to make a choice and really face the truth that I was the only one who could change things. If I wanted to have something more in my life, it had to start with being someone different in my life. I could no longer be the kind of person who starts something but doesn't finish it, the kind of person who goes from one thing to the next, or the kind of person who settles into complacency. And so it was then that I decided to choose one thing and see it through. And once I made that decision, it became very clear to me that that thing was painting. Did I imagine that I'd be a successful painter? Yeah, I did. Did I believe I would be a successful painter? Absolutely not. But you know what? It didn't deter me because the thought of living out the rest of my life without having at least tried and really tried wholeheartedly to establish a business that was mine, a business that showcased my creativity in a physical form, made me feel incredible regret and disappointment in myself. Again, if I never tried. And so my journey as an artist began. And I let that vision, that goal, that target that I could vividly imagine, yet not quite believe in, pull me towards it. I decided on abstract art primarily because it's the kind of art that I'm personally drawn to, that I feel most connected to creating. And I think really also because I've always kind of described myself as being abstract random in a lot of ways. And so I began painting daily and experimenting with techniques and colors. I certainly made a lot of critical errors with combining materials that are not meant to be combined, but I learned along the way. And thankfully, at this stage of the game, I was smart enough to be buying student grade materials. And so despite my lack of knowledge, a few pieces did begin to emerge that I was actually proud of. And these became the paintings that I would maybe hang in a secluded spot in our home, or I'd leave them leaning against a wall, maybe in a more obvious spot. And if I was really feeling brave, I would post them on Facebook. And the year was 2017. And I continued on in this way for the rest of that year. I guess kind of as a hobbyist, but with determination to make something out of it. And my confidence in my skill set started to slowly gain traction. And so 2018 was a new beginning for me in many ways. The first was that our family moved from the home that we had lived in for the previous 4 years into a small furnished rental townhome. And ironically, this townhome was next door to the townhome we bought and lived in when we first moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 13 years prior, for what was then also a new beginning. And it was there in that small little furnished rental that my art career really began. I decided to buy better materials and deepen my commitment to that imagined future that really still seemed so far off and unbelievable. And although I started telling others that I was painting work for our new home that we were building, and again, that was true, but I also knew I was working towards something more. And I painted nearly every evening. In spite of this, my confidence still didn't come very quickly or easily, even as my skills as a painter got better. And sure, I was looking at my work and truly, really liking what I saw, but the belief that anyone else would like it, let alone pay money for one of the paintings, that was a completely different story. But somewhere along the line, something began to shift. And I coached myself around this. I doubled down on growing my confidence. And I'd say 10 times down on not caring what others thought about me or my work. And I started telling everyone that I was an artist. It took 6 months from officially putting myself out there with a website, with social media, with prices, with telling everyone I meant that I was an artist, with telling myself I was an artist. It took 6 months to sell my first painting. And now keep in mind, that doesn't even include the 1.5 years that I was honing my skills and building that initial belief in myself. But you know what? That's okay. Because becoming a successful artist taught me that I can see things through, things that are not for others, but for me. I learned that it's not only okay to make myself and my dreams a priority, but it's essential. I learned that my family really enjoyed watching me create something that I was proud of. And I learned that my family is proud of me. I learned that I could still homeschool my daughter while building a business. And I learned that confidence and clarity come with taking action. I learned that I don't have to have it all figured out. I learned what it means to be committed and determined to figuring things out. And I learned to be authentically and unapologetically me. And so I'll wrap it up with this. Let me ask you, what about you? What have you achieved that you formerly never thought possible? Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's a dream career. Maybe it's graduating from college. Maybe it's living in a place you love. Maybe it's raising a beautiful family. It really doesn't matter what it is, but I encourage you to reflect on it and let it inspire you to create your next seemingly impossible target or goal. And if you would like help, this is the work I do with clients. This is the work I do with myself. So let's have a conversation to see how I can support you. That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.